An emergency services employee received a strange phone call from an elderly farmer named Donsbell. Donce reported that a young girl named Ezra, who resides in his house in the state of Wisconsin, had been attacked by someone and was in critical condition, requiring medical care. Upon receiving the call, the police went to the address provided by Donsbell. When they arrived, they found Ezra in a frightened state and in poor health. Despite her condition, Ezra managed to convey that her ex-boyfriend, Alex, had assaulted her. Moments before the attack, she had been at a farm. Ezra was transported to the hospital, and during the journey, she requested that the officers contact another ex-boyfriend, Jason Mongol, to be with her during this difficult time. While some investigators stayed with Ezra, others searched the area around Donsbell's property but found no evidence of Alex's presence. Attempts to contact Alex or locate his residence were unsuccessful. He seemed to have disappeared. The officers then questioned Ezra to gather more information about Alex. Initially, Ezra was highly sensitive and struggled to answer questions. However, she gradually regained her composure. Throughout the evening and into the next day, Ezra maintained that she couldn't remember much except for glimpses of Alex attacking her. Later that morning, when the officers returned to the vicinity of Donsbell's property, they discovered another property surrounded by gates. Following footprints that led to a dirt path, they found Alex's lifeless body hanging from Ezra's car, covered in blood and bearing multiple stab wounds. This gruesome scene left the officers realizing that the case would be both complex and chaotic. The mystery deepened. Who attacked Ezra? Why? And what was the story behind finding Alex's body in such a horrifying state? Stay with us as we explore the details further in this video presented by the Dahalyze channel. Meanwhile, Ezra remains in the hospital, and the officers continue to investigate the pasts of both Ezra and Alex. 10 months ago, Ezra McCandless met a man named Jason Mongol. Despite their age difference, they agreed to live a spontaneous and free life together. Their relationship grew stronger, and they became frequent patrons of a cafe called Re-C in the heart of Eau Claire City. During those 8 months, Ezra and Jason were regulars at the cafe. However, their relationship took a turn when Ezra met Alex Redov, a young man who also worked at the same cafe. By chance, Alex lived just 2 buildings away from Ezra. Known for his friendly demeanor and frequent visits to the church, Alex struck up a friendship with both Ezra and Jason. Although Ezra maintained her relationship with Jason, she secretly continued her interactions with Alex. As the three spent time together, Jason was often away due to military duties. The relationship dynamics shifted rapidly. When Jason discovered the truth, both he and Alex remained friends. Despite their separation, Ezra continued living in the same apartment with Jason until just 3 weeks ago, when she moved out. The discovery of Alex's body occurred only days after her departure. Jason was due to return home on that fateful day after a 2-week military training. Upon arrival, he found Ezra crying and barely able to speak. She revealed that while he was away, she had gone out for drinks with a friend. That night, the friend assaulted her while she was unconscious. When she woke up, she realized what had happened. Ezra was terrified of Jason's reaction, so she decided to tell him about the incident before reaching out to Alex to discuss the matter. On another night, she visited Alex's house to inform him of the situation. Alex took advantage of her vulnerability, and upon hearing this, Jason was furious. Despite their separation, Ezra still lived in the same house as Jason, which made him feel that they were still close. When he learned that his friends had taken advantage of Ezra, he immediately took her to the police station to report the incident. During the investigation, doctors examined Ezra's phone and text message records. They also spoke to both Jason and Alex. Among Ezra's messages, the officers found interactions with a friend of Jason's that suggested she had been close to him. Previous messages also hinted at a previous intimate encounter between Ezra and Alex. These findings raised doubts about Ezra's claims. As the officers continue their investigation, the discovery of Alex's body adds a new layer of complexity to the case. And based on the information they obtained from Ezra's phone, Jason confessed that he was aware of a previous relationship between the two. However, according to Ezra's account, she felt genuinely taken advantage of this time. When the officers questioned Alex, he continued to claim that Ezra willingly met with their mutual friend, Jason, but regretted it afterward. The police decided not to press charges or make any arrests due to insufficient evidence. Ezra became increasingly frustrated with Alex after her conversation with the police. The following week, Jason insisted that Ezra leave his house, tired of her continuous deception. She returned to her parents' home in March. On a fateful day in March, Jason was sitting in the park when Ezra suddenly appeared. He hadn't expected her to be there again. Jason noticed a menacing look in Ezra's eyes, which surprised him. Curious, he asked her why she had come to the park. Her response was that she was there to see Alex and spend some time with him. Afterward, she got into her car and headed to Alex's house. Concerned, Jason decided to follow her on his bike to monitor the situation from a distance. Unfortunately, Jason's suspicions grew as he observed Ezra circling Alex's house on her bike. He found her behavior suspicious and decided to call emergency services. The officers arrived discreetly and spoke to Jason, who explained why he was there. Afterward, they left, finding no reason for their presence. Little did they know that these were the last moments Alex would be alive. Less than an hour later, the officers discovered Alex's lifeless body. They had more questions for Ezra. Ezra's memories gradually returned. She recounted how, during a car ride with Alex, he pulled out a knife and threatened her. She claimed that Alex was driving while she sat in the front passenger seat, which seemed unlikely. The investigators found inconsistencies in her story. The crime scene revealed most of the blood outside the car, contradicting Ezra's claim that the crime occurred inside. Additionally, Alex had no defensive wounds, and the severity of his injuries suggested a prolonged struggle. Ezra's version of events didn't hold up. The investigators believed this was a premeditated murder with malice aforethought. After the investigation concluded, Ezra was charged with first-degree intentional homicide. Her trial began a month later in October. During the trial, Ezra appeared cold and unremorseful, a stark contrast to the shocked and broken person seen during the initial investigations. Jason, Ezra's friend, testified against her. Despite her attempts to manipulate the narrative, the evidence pointed to a calculated crime. Ezra was convicted of intentionally killing Alex and tampering with the crime scene. She received a life sentence with the possibility of parole after 1 year. This heinous crime, driven by Ezra's ego, took the life of an innocent young man, leaving his family grieving without cause. Do you agree with this verdict? Share your thoughts in the comments below, and don't forget to support us with likes and subscribe to the channel for more updates. Stay safe. Glowing Star.